What's up, guys? Welcome to H3ZZI Talks, where we dive deeper into human experiences from regular people just like you and me. My name is RJ, and I'm so happy that you're here. I am no internet expert, nor am I a social media influencer. I'm just a regular guy, just like everyone else, that loves to learn and grow from having deep conversations. I'm just starting this podcast journey, and as I do, I'm hoping to bring some interesting stories to you all. In episode 2, we talked to Christine, whose daughter came out as gay at the age of 21. I really wanted to share her story because I wanted to get her perspective on how she handled it as a parent. I have to admit that coming into this podcast, this particular episode, I had made some assumptions based on my own coming out experience. But Christine reminded me that I need to keep my heart and my mind open and that love is love no matter what. So let's get to the episode. Happy Pride, everyone. Well, here we are. Welcome to episode 2, you guys. Today I have Christine with me, and Christine is a friend of mine from TikTok. That's actually how we met. So Christine, thank you so much for being guest number 2 today. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really exciting to kind of do something new like this. I am not one who is like volunteering to any kind of public speaking. So this is kind of fun to kind of get out of my own shell and do something new. So thank you.
Girl, I don't even know what's going on with my own life that I all of a sudden I woke up and was like, hey, I think I should be a podcaster. And in actuality, I have you guys and I have TikTok to thank because they were really the ones, you guys were really the ones who were like, you should podcast. And I've never been, I just have never been into podcasting. Maybe I just didn't know what it was. And now here I am. So let's see what
You know
happens.
what? Let me tell you this. I've been to a lot of TikTok lives, and when I go into yours, you have a very specific tone in your voice where you can connect with people and it draws us in. So therefore we stay.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. So
You can talk and it's good. So this will be fun.
So the reason why we're talking today, it is coincidentally, it is Pride Month. I am starting this podcast just on a whim. And I say coincidentally because as we were talking offline, I am trying to let these stories come to me organically. And yours did via DM. You had you had sent me a message actually talking about my mom because she's a Sagittarius, but then you had mentioned that your daughter had come out to you when she was 21. And I think what I had gathered from your original message, Christine, was that there was a lot of love there when that happened. And it was an interest of mine because I had such, in my mind, a challenging experience when it came to coming out. And I just wanted to share your story. And not only you, but there was a couple of other moms that reached out to me that was in the same scenario as you. And it just warms my heart. It makes me feel so good to know that there are parents out there that have accepted their children. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on. I wanted you to share your story. And I also wanted to get the perspective from a parent of an LGBTQIA plus child. And so just to kind of break the ice, if you wouldn't mind just just introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into your actual background.
For sure. So Christine, so I was born in San Francisco. I've been in the Bay Area pretty much all my life. I have 2 sisters and a brother growing up. My sisters and my brothers are actually from previous marriages. So I'm the only child of my mom and dad right now. And so my father, I have a very interesting background because my parents are actually 30 years apart. So And my father's already passed away. He passed away when I was in high school, but he's African American and my mom's Filipino. So already right from the get-go, we already have like interracial boundaries with that because they were actually married 1976. So we already have some barriers historically from that. So I have that going on already. My sister, my oldest sister, was actually gay. So I've been exposed to it pretty much all my life. Even though we didn't live together, she was in New York. She was a lot older than I was, but she was gay, and I've met her girlfriends. So I was very used to this. It was nothing new to me. So that right there, I think, already sets the boundary for me of seeing people, gay, straight, whatever. So again, it didn't play too much into anything else because I've already been used to it.
So sorry, Chris. Sorry,
Yeah.
Christine. Just sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to go back and make sure that we caught that. So your dad is African American. Your mom is Filipino. Your dad has passed away, and your sister is lesbian. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did. My oldest one, yes.
Your oldest sister. Okay, great. Sorry, you cut out a little bit, so I'm just repeating it for our listeners. Go ahead, continue.
Oh yeah. So I'm married. I married my high school sweetheart. We've been together 26 years. I did wait 18 years to get married, but we did have 3 kids to make sure that it was going to work out. So we're good. But yeah, we're still in the Bay Area. Yeah. But I'm glad to share this experience. And yeah, I have 3 kids, and my oldest, as you mentioned now, and I have 2 other ones, like my Irish twins. They are 12 and about to be 11. So
wow. Okay,
that's
so
my little background.
You married your high school sweetheart. You guys had 3 kids. The oldest is 21, and who we're speaking of today. And I'm not sure
Yeah,
if she's 23 now. Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, and then may I ask what background your husband is?
So he's Peruvian and Italian.
Peruvian and Italian. Wow. Christine, you are very eclectic. Is that the right word? That's amazing. What I heard is growing up, because your sister was gay, that helped to normalize things, right? Your mom is Filipina. Was she a traditional Filipina?
Not at all, because one, she married a Black man. So that was already kind of frowned upon. So growing up, you know how Filipinos tend to have close relations with, I didn't have any connections with my mom's Filipino side until Facebook came about. And that's when things started popping up like, oh, this person, you might know this person about family on Facebook. And then it comes to find out it wasn't because she married him, but my mom, she marched, the people weren't meshing with her. She just cut him out. So
she did her own thing. Like she was like,
yeah.
I'm doing me. I don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. And then,
And I have an interesting story later on to tell you about her that I found out from my daughter, which plays into this whole coming out thing too. So
okay. Yeah.
good. It's really good.
And what about your father? Was he strict? Was he traditional? Was he a macho man? Was he open-minded?
He was a blend of everything, I would say. With me growing up, very strict. I wasn't allowed to leave the house. So I wasn't allowed to go over to friends' houses. They could come to our house. He was strict in the way of kind of like American ways versus Filipino ways. He didn't want my mom to teach me how to speak any kind of Filipino or Tagalog or anything. I know the food, I know the bad words. But when it came to his daughter, he was fine with it. There was no question about it. That was his daughter. She loved who she loved, and that was fine. No problems. It was the same thing. You got to treat my daughter or you're going to have problems with me. So it was just like that growing up.
I mean, fams, like we might have to have another podcast with you on it again. You are organically bringing me so many stories.
I thought about this because I was like, he's probably going to want to know my background. And it's just, my background is really unique, like in that way,
Love
just
it.
how I grew up.
I love
And
it.
it's not even because I'm in the Bay Area. It's because of my family. So
yeah. And there's a point to why we're talking about this, right? Because it does have an influence to how you relate to your kids is what I'm trying to say. So before we move into her story, for you growing up, what was your, this sounds really general, but what was your viewpoint on the world? What was your, I know that because of your sister, being gay was normalized, but I guess I'm trying to get into your head right now a little bit. Like, how did
Mhm.
you see the world when it came to relating to people that were different from you?
It's funny because I think because I was in the Bay Area, been in the Bay Area, I didn't really start exploring outwards. I felt, I thought everybody kind of thought the same thing. So, like when you go to other states and you hear, oh no, gays aren't liked here, or certain classified races over here aren't accepted, that was unheard of. And I was just kind of shocked. So, I think in my mind, I thought everybody was kind of open minded to these things because from growing up from that standpoint, seeing different things, seeing different people, it was clear not everybody was the same. So why is there a problem with being different? So I think that's just me in general. Like what's the difference? Because everybody's different. So there's going to be differences, and then you like things, you don't like things. It's going to be okay.
So would you say that for most of your life, if not all of your life, that you have just been pretty open?
No, yeah, for sure. Pretty open to new things. Food was always one thing I was like cautious of, but people, I was
Sorry, you said food you were cautious of, but people.
I was very open-minded, meeting people and learning cultures and other things that I as he was about certain things and saying, no, you only learn English, you only do these things. I was like, well, what else is out there? There's got to be more than just this, because my mom was always open to what else is out in the world.
Got it. Got it. And it's for me, I feel like sometimes I have to dig and pick with folks that are Filipino just because
Mm-hmm.
of the way that we grew up. And I mentioned this in another episode, but I have two viewpoints about how Filipinos are. They're either on one side, very traditional, very strict,
Mm-hmm.
very Catholic, very Christian, whatever that is, or in a rare case, you have someone like your mom that
Mm-hmm.
maybe was Americanized, that was maybe, I don't give a fuck, I'm doing me, you know? And, but I feel like in scenarios like your mom's, to me, at least in my viewpoint, in me growing up, it was a rarity. I didn't see that
Yeah.
a lot. So, and thank you for sharing that part of your life, because it brings us to sort of our next topic, right? And we will get into how you relate with your daughter, but sort of fast forward, you have 3 kids, you have your
Mm-hmm.
oldest, you're going along, everything's all good, and she turns 21. And then at 21,
Mm-hmm.
she's got an announcement. Can you talk about how that went down?
So this is what with her about this. And I was just like, let's just kind of relive that part again. I'll tell you what I remember. And she goes, yeah, yeah, go ahead. So what I remember was she told me in a roundabout way. What she did, what I recall, she told me one of her friends, her close friends, was seeing a girl. And I was like, oh, really? That's interesting. Okay. I didn't see that one coming. I was like, oh, that's fine. No reaction. It's just like that. Telling her dad first. And I was like, and I think they kind of brought it to me. And I was like, why were you guys nervous about telling me about it? And then she was just like, well, we weren't sure who you were going to act. I go, yeah, but you told me your friend was seeing a girl. What's different with that? And then she goes, oh, she's like, no, it was really about me. So I was like, okay. So I said, the same rules apply. I said, whoever it is you're with, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I said, same rule. And now that it's a girlfriend, I said before, boyfriends, it was kind of like the thing, watch out for their dads. I said, well, now you got a girlfriend. I go, now they got to watch out for me. So I
Wait,
said, you just got to make sure that they treat you right and then they're respectable.
okay, hold on. So hold on. So we got it. We just so this is like so I'm a little mind blown right now, because it's just y'all just kept rolling, like, and meaning you were just like, all right, so here's the rules. That's it.
Yeah, there was no like There was like no crying. There's no like, oh, what am I gonna do about grandkids? I'm not trying to have her have grandkids. So it was kind of like, you don't know. There was none of that. None of that. I
Okay.
mean, it was basically like just telling me you have a new person in your life, you know?
Okay. So, okay, great. Awesome. You cut out a little bit earlier. So let's go back because what I heard, and you can confirm, is your daughter was still a little bit iffy about telling you first. So she told her dad first. Did I get that right?
Mhm.
Okay. And so let's talk about dad real quick. I know you're not dad, but when she told dad, do you know kind of like what the general reaction was?
Oh, he was fine too. He's very open-minded in that sense.
What is going on here? I'm just, I'm just, I'm just kidding. I, Christine, the reason why, and this is what I love. Like this is it for me, and I think I am just mind blown because I think you've been in my life before. I think I have talked to May and Vaughn on Vaughn's podcast about my coming out story. I talked about it on my podcast with PJ, but unfortunately and fortunately, I didn't have the same coming out. And
Mhm.
without rehashing the whole thing, it was just super traumatic for me. I was 17. There was a lot of turmoil. We had a lot of problems. And do you know that all that I would have wanted in my life was to have my mom be like, okay, well, those are the rules. That's cool. So now you're with a dude. Here are the rules, right? You can't get any
Mhm.
STDs. You need to do your homework. You need to study. You need like that would
Mhm.
have been amazing. So just mad kudos to you and love, Christine, to you and your husband, because I can't like I can't even tell you how much I'm sure that meant to her. You know what I mean? That you were able to receive her message like that. So,
Mhm.
but now knowing that, and there's no judgment, it's fine. You've given her the rules. Did you have any concerns at all?
Same. I mean, it's the same. It's like, what are their future plans? What are their hopes and dreams? What does your future look like with them? What kind of, where's he from? Like, I think she had issues sometimes with the other family more than us. So that was something we talked about,
Okay, so
and
sorry.
was that her girlfriend's family wanted.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. So if I heard you correctly, it sounds like your concerns were still more sort of child based, meaning just her future, right?
Mhm.
Not even necessarily her sexuality. Did I get that right?
No.
Okay. And then the other thing that you had mentioned was that it sounds like she or there were more concerns about her girlfriend at the time because she was having issues with her family. Mhm.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and accepting their daughters getting together and everything because they were concerned about grandkids. That
Sorry. So did they know that your daughter's girlfriend was lesbian?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so they knew, but they still had concerns because they wanted grandkids. Was there anything else?
No, I don't know. That was like the kind of like the biggest thing. And I'm like, there's adoption. There's so many other ways of doing things now. It's not, I guess, but it's kind of an old school mentality, right? So
Was her girlfriend okay? I'm trying not to go off too far, but was her girlfriend Filipino?
no, no,
What was she, if you don't mind me asking?
they're Mexican.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I don't mean it to sound like that, but they Mexicans are almost like Filipinos, right? They share the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
values. They share the same religion ish, and so I could see where that could be a concern. But they're also 21 years old.
I know, great. I know exactly.
Man. Okay, well, you know, so did you have any idea about your daughter at all?
You know, you know, watching her grow up, I had there's probably no signs. There were wait, did you hear me?
Yes. You said growing up, you didn't her
Okay.
watching her grow up, there weren't any
Yeah.
signs.
There were no signs that kind of said, huh, she might be no. Again, but I really wasn't looking either because growing up, she had boyfriends. So that was like first thing. And then she never mentioned anything about a girl. And then when I talked to her about this, she was like, yeah, she's like, we experimented for fun. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you experimented. So that's something. But she still had boyfriends. It wasn't until she got older where she just said,
Wait,
this
wait,
now.
hold on. When did she tell you that she experimented? And when were you like, okay, was that was that it? That's it?
That was literally probably about a week ago when we were talking about it. Because I said, hey, I
Oh,
cap about this. So I think now she feels more comfortable kind of talking about these adult things with me. So
yes.
then it was like, oh, no, no, we experiment with, like, I could kiss a girl. It was fine. She's all, but it was nothing like a connection. There was no connection.
Got
So
it. But she didn't divulge this to you when she was younger. Is that right?
no, she didn't. Yeah, she
Okay,
didn't.
got it.
She,
Got it.
it's because it wasn't, she was trying to hide it or anything from us, but it's just because at the time it didn't mean anything to her. She was into boys.
Wow, you could can you be my mom? So I'm a little stuck here because I all my questions were there any concerns? Did you place any blame on yourself? Well, let me ask you, did you have any of that type of concern? So when she came out to you, did
Mhm.
you have any concerns at all about being a parent or maybe or how you parented? And the reason why I'm asking is, again, coming from Filipino culture and hearing sort of the stories that I've heard,
Mhm.
Christine, there's a lot of these questions, right? Was it my fault? What did I do? How could I have done better? Why is my child like this? Was there any of that for you?
Mhm. No, and then I mean, what we made her play softball. I don't play softball. Like, no, it's not because she played softball.
Oh, you sorry,
But
you were
no,
saying, sorry, you were guessing that, is it because you made her play softball? Was that a joke? Is that what you're saying?
yes, old joke.
Yeah. So it sounds like both you and your husband were just confident in that you raised a good human. Is that
That is our everyday concern, just making sure we are raising good people. That is our concern
okay? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
when we are not there. Yeah, are they going to just be a good person if we're not around? That is our concern.
So okay, I got to go back to your husband again. So your husband is Peruvian and Italian. Very they could be a very macho culture on both sides, right?
Oh yeah,
So was there no concern on his end?
there were there was only one, and that was from one of his sisters. And again, it was about grandkids. Like they were crying. One started crying because, oh, you can't do this. What about raising a family? And like, that
Yeah.
is so far off. Like, you don't need to cry about them not having kids for us. I'm like, there's other ways. There's so many bigger, things to worry about than that. But that was the only thing. My daughter, when she told my mom that she was coming out, this is where it shocked me because my mom had never said anything about this to me. But she goes, yeah, grandma told me that, yeah, she had girlfriends. I was like, what? Like, did?
You
What? When?
can you imagine?
Oh,
You're not shocked that your own daughter's coming out, but then your mom is messing with the ladies, and you're like, wait, hold up. So hold up. Something's not right here.
Wait,
But
what?
that hearing this part of your story, that doesn't even really surprise me though. If you're telling me that your mom is not the traditional Filipino and she marches to the beat of her own drum, fuck it, man. Like
Mhm.
YOLO. And I have mad
Yeah.
respect for that. Okay, what about, you're really getting me today, girl. Like I had all these drama questions and we're just having a happy story, which makes me happy, by the way. But what about
That
your family, the Filipino side, like
Mhm.
maybe cousins or aunties or anything like that? Was there any effect on them? Was there any issues with them?
No. So growing up, I only really had my sister, my mom's daughter. So totally fine with it. No problems. I don't know if it's because it's my kid, but she was fine with it. She's always welcomed my daughter's girlfriend and everything. A person. It's always been okay.
That's amazing. And again, drawing from my own experience, Christine, I had typical Filipino family. I had typical Filipino in-laws. I had cousins. I had no gay cousins. They were all brought up traditional Filipino. I knew I was gay when I was young.
Mhm.
But one of the things, and I had mentioned it in one of my TikToks, is they used to always make fun of me. Always. They always made fun of me, whether it was the way that I walked, the way that I held my hand because I had the broken wrist, the way that I talked. I remember I had this, I don't know if you remember it, Macy's had this dog. It was like a pit bull, it was like a stuffed animal and I carried that fucking thing everywhere
Mhm.
with me. But that is just a regular attachment. Do you know what I mean? Kids have attachments to things, whether it's a blanket, a stuffed animal, whatever. But even me just carrying around that fucking dog, they would totally harass. And it's so, I don't know. I must be naive or just not woke like that in a way because this surprises me to hear Filipino families just being chill. But also I think it does help that your oldest sister was gay as well, right? Because she was able to help sort of normalize things for the pre your daughter. So now as a parent, you know that your daughters come out to you, were outside of being a good human, maybe outside of getting pregnant, or anything like that. Were there any challenges that you as a family faced? Were there any challenges that you and your daughter faced in your relationship? Especially because now at 21, she's come out, she might have been exploring, but I'm sure that she's continuing to explore her sexuality and grow as a person. Was
Mhm.
there any effect or any issues there?
I can't say there were any challenges with it, with anything that related to her being gay, because of maybe like a personality thing or something that it mesh, but it wasn't because of her sexuality.
It wasn't because of her sexuality. It was just regular teen and adult things. So, is there anyone
Uh-huh.
in the immediate family or in this scenario, maybe outside of the girlfriend, her girlfriend, that caused just made this whole process difficult at all?
And she has that ability to cut people off. So if she did, I didn't know about it, but I'm sure more gay friends, of course, now than she's had before. So, her circle has changed. So maybe there were some challenges that like for me, with her coming out, it had no impact on anything, any challenges on my own. Like none of that had anything to do with it.
So it sounds like you were saying that your daughter is strong enough as an individual to manage her relationships. Is that right? And
Definitely.
if things didn't vibe, if things didn't jive, that she was like, I'm cool, I'm done. I don't need this type of energy in my life.
Oh yeah, she can cut people out like that.
Got it. Okay. Well, so all right, let me get out of there. It's all I know. So that's why I keep asking these questions. But things were good, which is amazing. So let's talk about you being an ally. So you find out that your daughter is gay, did you, was there a mission for you? Was there anything that got you to say, okay, this is my daughter now and I want to be able to support her? What do I do?
Mhm. It's funny because I think a year after my workplace, they started really becoming an advocate for the alphabet mafia, because I can't get all the letters in the row correctly. But and
I can't even.
they're gonna do the they keep adding stuff. Okay, Lord.
We're growing.
So I was like, want to go do we'll do the SF parade, and she's all like, Mom, parade. I said, no, it's just for work. Come with me. So that was the biggest thing. She was like, she was laughing at me. She's like, you just want to be in the parade? I was like, well, I go, it shows support. We just started like really like a diversity committee. We're working gay. And his mission right now is to work on transgender care. So, and having
Sorry,
those
sorry,
kind of
sorry,
patients
Christine.
and how, how you should address them. Oh,
Sorry, let's go back a little bit because you cut out. So you're talking about the support that you're getting from work, or the initiatives that they're creating at work. Did I get that right? And
yeah.
this is for, is it Stanford?
Mhm.
Is it for Stanford?
Stanford.
Okay, got it. They were going to be in the parade. They usually are in the parade. They're a big organization, and I know that they have a lot of initiatives for LGBTQIA plus people. Was your daughter she just didn't want to be in a parade with you?
She did it, and it was fun.
She didn't, but she did, and you guys had a good time.
She did. Yeah, she had a good time. She just thought it was funny. She was all like, I come out and we're going to be in a parade now.
That's awesome,
typical
though.
mom stuff.
That's awesome. So now going to Stanford, the last thing that I heard you say is that someone there is trying to start an initiative to assist with transgender care.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you?
so that's been like, yeah, for sure. So it's like definitely something that's underrepresented in medicine. And just being able to communicate with them when they come to like certain departments, and having that kind of access to care, and knowing how to treat them with respect in a way, because there's always that issue with what are you technically, what are you is based like on what you're biological. So they're trying to get away from that and trying to find other, basically just a communication tool comes into our department and is treated with the same respect somebody else would. So that's pretty big, like for what we're doing. There's even training modules on it that we're trying to like teach other like physicians what to do.
Are you a part of that committee? I don't know if you mentioned that.
I'm part of the diversity committee, and that's a separate like hospital initiative that they're working on, but in that sense. So we hear the updates and everything with it.
Got it. So you're a part of the diversity committee at Stanford. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's sidestep a little bit. Just talk about that. In that role, being a part of the diversity committee and helping to communicate those things, have you faced any challenges in that way? Or is Stanford a pretty open organization when it comes to that type of stuff?
In the last, I want to say about maybe like years, really, and they're always trying to make sure that everybody's kind of here, but it's very inclusive. And that's one of our things, the mission statement, even for our department, inclusivity, just being open-minded and being able to like just reach out and community-based and making sure you don't forget this population. So yeah, definitely they've made strides in the right direction with this. It's really nice to be a part of an organization.
You said it's gotten better in the past couple of years. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. It's definitely more out there where they show that they're an advocate, and just trying to make sure that they like the community knows like, hey, you can come here from who you are. So it's just making sure that they know that, come to us. And
Sorry, you cut out again. You were talking about they're trying to constantly improve in those initiatives and letting people know that they can be comfortable at Stanford. Is that right?
And that they're an
and that they're an advocate. Are there things that you or events or things that you and your daughter have done together in terms of gay pride or outside of the parade? Do you try to connect with your daughter in that way and try to be a part of that part of her life? I mean, I know, kids and parents, you don't want your parents messing with you, but I guess the question is, how do you guys share experiences now?
It's pretty much the same. She's, I wouldn't say she's like an activist or anything. She's really, if there was anything, like if she were to, she said, hey, can you come with me to this meeting or come with me to this event? I would go with her. There'd be no hesitation there. I'm going to go with my daughter somewhere. That's all.
Yeah. Have you, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've met her partners and her girlfriends. What have you thought? What have you thought of her girlfriends?
This is a good one because, yeah, I definitely have some opinions on that. So the first one, I'll keep it really light, really nice. The first one I was okay with, but I always sensed, I'm cutting out.
It's okay.
I sensed there was something not right all the time. And it was because of the way she acted around me. And it was kind of like when you're guilty of something, always like ducking and dodging from me. Or if we went out to dinner, she wouldn't sit by me. She would try to like go sit like at the opposite side. And it was like, and I was like, does she not like me? Or what is it? Am I giving off a vibe where she's just like scared or something? Out it wasn't because they were gay in that sense. It was just because it was a trust issue that they had, and she had done something wrong to my daughter, and she just felt guilty about it. So it was kind of like it was always coming.
Child,
so she was always,
Sorry, my mom didn't like my last partner, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But she called it. I mean, she called it. I was not happy, and I was like, why are you hating? Like, why are you hating? But she called it, and here I am.
Yeah, see, and it wasn't even, I'd asked my daughter, I'm like, why is she like that? And she's like, I don't know. I've asked her a lot of times, like, why do you
act like that?
It's like, she's like, your mom, like, why? Yeah. And I'm like this. I'm like a happy person, like that. But I never confronted her about it. I was just like, maybe she's just until later when we found out what was really going on. And then I was like, there it is. There it is.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's why she was like, oh, I can't.
Is she dating someone now? How is that going? At least from a parent's perspective.
And she's more comfortable. She comes over, come into my room, like, oh, hi. Like, she makes an effort. And we do things together. And she tries a totally different experience than the last one.
Got it. So you are obviously a cool mom, and I have mad respect and love for you. I wish that there were more parents like you and your husband. And I think with the way that our world is today, we need more parents like you. And we all got our, like, yeah, I'm not a parent yet, but I know that when I become a parent, I'm going to have my own bullshit that I deal with. I'm not going to be the best parent. We all aren't the best parents. And I feel comfortable with saying that, but I would hope that there would be more parents like you out there that are just open-minded in that way. So if you could share some things with other parents about your experience or about having an LGBTQIA plus, I said in one breath, child, what would you want to share with people?
I mean, the basic thing is you're going to love your child, and you need to love your child no matter what. And what no matter what is, it is no matter who they love. You just need to love them. And they need to know that you have their back. Because in this world, even though I may make it sound like it's all rainbows and happiness on our end, but I know in this world it's ugly. Back,
agreed.
You're their ally, and they can come to you with anything. and it, whatever it may be, but just being able to listen, sit back, same, that child that just told you that is the baby that you held in your arms when they first were born and made that promise on that day that you would love that child. And I look at her, I'm going to cry because I look at her, I look at my other two, and I know that I love them no matter what. And I want them to always feel they can tell me things. It did hurt me that she wanted to tell her dad first, but then I get it. I know with that Sagittarius thing, we're fiery. We don't always speak. We don't get it. I get it. That's fine. But at least she knows I'm fine with it. And that's what's important. So I would say just love your kids and listen to them. And hey, you know what? We didn't listen to our parents and they may do things. Hey, one thing my mom was traditional about, being a nurse. I tried. But I work in healthcare. I'm not a
Girl,
nurse. My sister's a nurse. So that
I wish I had. I
no,
wish I had
no.
siblings. I wish I had siblings so I could take some of the pressure off of me. Like I had who the fuck knows, Christine, what the fuck happened to me? The Filipinos were all like, you need to be a lawyer, an engineer, a nurse, a doctor. And here I am
No.
doing a podcast.
You know what though? There's just so many other things in this world. There's so many things that that the world needs. We need somebody like you that can connect with people. That's important. That's a big job in its own, and just being able to talk to people and being able just to make somebody like feel comfortable where they can tell their story. Imagine if you had somebody who wasn't out yet and they talked to you and they were just like, and you let them know it was okay. You know what? It's okay. And then they're fine with that, having that conversation. That's what's important. Not that, like, yeah, you know what? We're not nurses, but we still take care of people. And that's important. And I think that means more than anything.
Christine and I personally have been on this journey and I don't know what has happened recently. I was just telling my therapist today, it's really weird how I all of a sudden have been way more open about wanting to share my story and share the things that happened to me and have podcasts with you to talk to parents like you. But with everything that is so wrong in the world right now, I just want to be able to help one person. I just need
Mhm.
one person, because all I've seen in my life is just teens, LGBTQIA plus teens committing suicide or running away or getting into drugs or, or in our community, just hearing that nobody feels supported. I'm no expert. All I'm saying is, and I've said this before, if I can help one person, then I feel like I've done my job. And I also want to be able to grow from it because I want to be a dad. And I
Mhm.
want to be that dad. Something that came up recently that I thought about is people used to ask me how I would feel if my son or daughter came out gay. And I used to always say that I would be concerned. And it sounds bad, but the reason why I answered that is because I didn't want them to go through what I had to go. And recently that's just changed. And having conversations like this with you and having conversations with LGBTQIA plus people, that mindset has changed. And that's what I'm getting at is I want that to continue because
Yeah.
I want to be like you when I have a child where it doesn't even matter. I don't care what you are. What I care about is that you don't get a girl pregnant too early or
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
or that you commit a crime or something
Mhm.
or something like that. I hope that in this day and age that people are just more open, that parents are more open. And I don't know, I'm hoping that this podcast that I did with you today and that we do again will help someone. So Thank you for taking the time to be on this pod with me. We are going to do this again because there are things that we missed that I want to hear. You guys, you have to, if you're not on TikTok, you should get on TikTok. Christine does amazing makeup. That's her thing. She does makeup TikToks and she's amazing and she always spreads positive vibes and she always has a smile on her face. So you should follow her there. But outside of TikTok, where can they find you?
You can find me on IG. I have, oh my gosh, my account. So if you want to find me on IG, it's at FoxyMama1. And let me just share one thing.
Yes.
There's one thing that I always remember, and there was this one story, and I think there was a race. I don't know if it was the Boston Marathon or some race, but I remember there was one mom there, and she held up that sign that says, giving out mom hugs. And I remember seeing that. And I can't remember if it was before my daughter came out or not, but it might have been after, but still, I saw that poster board and I was like, that's exactly how everybody should be thinking like that.
Agreed.
You know, and when you see like the people that stopped to get a hug from this mom, oh my God, it's so painful. Like,
yeah.
Oh, and they're not like quick hugs, right? These are meaningful hugs. Like this was somebody whose parent didn't my heart. And it's just, no, I already knew I wasn't going to be that type of parent to ever shun my child like that. But man, that mom right there, she's my idol.
I always get emo when I see those moms. And one, I am proud and very happy that there are moms that are out there to do that that are willing to do that. What makes me sad is that there are moms that are out there that have to do that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And let's be clear, it's not a bad thing. It's not a judgment. What I'm saying is your mom should be your mom and should love you because you're their kid. Your dad should be your dad, you know? Someone shouldn't have to stand in.
I know. Love you.
I love you. Someone shouldn't have to stand in.
I know.
Sorry. Anyway, you got me. Before we go, let's do some word association, no hezzy style. So I'm going to give you 3 phrases.
Oh my God.
Okay. And I just want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. It could be a word. It could be a memory. It could be anything. You ready?
Okay.
First one is live freely.
No hezzy. I know whose podcast I came to.
Next one. Next one is love freely.
Love forever.
Love forever. Yeah, we all should be loving forever. Last one, experience freely.
Experience life.
Amen. With no hesitation. Life is too short to not do it. That's why I'm out here crying on a podcast like three times in a row.
You got to upload it. You know, it's good for the soul. You said this last night, right? It cleanses the soul.
It cleanses the soul. I haven't been crying a lot because I've been trying to just be that strong Filipino man. You still have those things, those remnants of bad traits. And so I guess I'll be crying on podcasts more, but
break them. No, it's just saying with those stigmas like that, let's be the one that breaks them.
Amen.
Amen. Emotional. It is okay. We need more of that. You know, we need that. Don't push your kids to be certain things. Stop they have to be a nurse. No.
Amen.
There's other careers out there.
Amen. You know, you don't have to be a fucking nurse.
Stop that. Right?
Just don't be a drug dealer.
I told my kids, I said, if you want to, that's fine. But if you do, don't get caught.
Don't be a drug dealer. Don't be a murderer. But
just be a good person.
Just be a good person. Just be a good person.
Yeah.
Christine, thank you so much. Thank you for being a role model, and thank you for being open-minded, and thank you despite, if you guys didn't know, it took us so long to get on this podcast because I was having technical difficulties. I was sitting for about half an hour making sure that I was ready for Christine. She gets online and then my laptop freezes. So we didn't get on when we were supposed to. And now that we're on, we even had to switch platforms. I probably got like half of our conversation, but I got it. That's what's most important, is I got what you were trying to say. And so I love you. Thank you for doing this with me. We're going to do it again. We'll share the story. So yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.